Hey there, it's Colin Fett, your agent. Hey, if you're watching this, you're most likely looking to sell your home. If you haven't watched my first video on explaining our proven process, please be sure to go up there and watch that one next. The goal of this video is to explain our pricing strategy so you can have a better understanding of what to expect when we sit down and talk about pricing your home. I believe there's three things that separate me from the average agent. Number one is our proven process. Like I said, that video above explaining how we get you from I want to sell my house to sold. Our marketing plan, which again is above here, and our pricing strategy, which is exactly what this video is going to cover. So let's jump right into our pricing plan. So you'll find when we sit down to talk about pricing, before we meet, I'll be sending an email, which is we call our pre-pricing or our pricing strategy email. And I'll be sharing a couple things with you. I'll be sharing comps with you that are sold. I'll be sharing active listings with you. And when we meet, we'll be talking about your home. I believe when we price your home, it is super important to price it right. Big adage that we get from a ton of people is, I can always try higher and we can always lower it later. Well, the most activity is the first 2 weeks on the market. So if we miss the boat on pricing, the first question I get from buyers when I show a house is, how long has the house been on the market? The house been on the market, sits on the market, people think something's wrong with it. They want to offer you a lower price, and it just starts to get stale. So pricing it right is so important. Our marketing strategy, again, we have a video on that. We've got a 5-star marketing program, and it doesn't work if we don't price it right. If we overprice it, it doesn't work. So my belief in finding the market value of your home is to triangulate, is the adage I use. So there's really three things I look at when pricing a home. You've got your home, what you bought it for, what you've done to it, what the Zestimate is, what the city thinks it's worth. A lot of people say that doesn't matter, but the buyer's going to be looking at that stuff and they're going to see, well, it's the Zestimate's this much lower. We got to be able to reasonably explain why it's assessed $30,000, $50,000 lower or higher, or whatever the situation is. Renovations you've done for the property, and then obviously how we prepare the property. If it's you come in, we got a smell, we got work that needs to be done, that affects the market value of the property. Essentially, the market value of the property is what a buyer is willing to pay for the property, and you as a seller is willing to sell the property. Doesn't matter what the appraisal thinks it's worth. Doesn't matter what the neighbor thinks it's worth. Doesn't matter what you think it's worth. All that matters is the market value, and that's a constantly moving number. And so our goal, again, with triangulating the price, is to get it in that range so that we're within the market value range, so we can get a buyer to make an offer. First is looking at your home. Next is looking at active listings. So I believe it's important to look at what's on the market. I'm out there showing a buyer different properties, and they're using comparison shopping. Just like when you go to look at cars, one dealership's got this car for this price with these features. Another dealership's got this car for this price with these features. And buyers, on average, they're looking online probably 6 months to a year before they're starting to scroll through what values they have. And a lot of times people are shopping in price ranges. So they're pre-approved from 200 to 250 in that price range. And they probably want a single family house or a condo or a townhouse. They're usually shopping in price ranges. And so I like to compare, what other houses are in that same price range. They're somewhat similar. Obviously, an old house versus a brand new house. A lot of people kind of segment off what type of house they're looking at. But I think it's important to be able to look at, the houses that are in our price range and say, how do we stack up against them? Because the buyers looked at all these other 7 houses that are right in our price range. Are we the highest priced house that looks the worst? We're probably not going to sell. Last is the closed comps. So this is what a lot of agents look at specifically, and that's all they look at and say, well, based on the square footage, based on these sales, I believe this is how an appraisal looks at the property. This is kind of the statistical, analytical version of the property. And I think this is important, but I think all these other things bring in weight. And so in this case, we're looking at bedroom, bathroom count. We're looking at garages, or how many garage stalls you got, backyard, all those kind of comparable factors. And do we have properties that can justify the asking price? A couple of reasons. One, the average buyer is going to get a loan on the property, so we're going to have to make sure that it appraises out. But then number two, it just makes sure that we're justifying our price that we put it on the market for. So in summary, I take a strategy of triangulating the price. I believe it's nice to come alongside you as the seller and work together to figure out what the price is. You can help me. You're the expert on your home. So when we meet, you're talking about your home, all the stuff you've done to it. A lot of times as a homeowner, you think your home's worth a lot because you've lived there, you've raised a family there, you've put work into it, you've sweated on hot Saturdays to make the garden look great or the flower bed look great. So a lot of times you and I feel the same way about my property. And so my job is to help bring in these other factors, help find us the market value of the property and get the home sold. So in summary, we use a triangulated pricing strategy. Before our meeting, I'll be sending you an email with links to active closed comps. And when we meet, there might be properties that I missed. And you say, well, what about this one? We're like, yeah, that would actually bring up the value and would probably justify that price. And so I take a pricing strategy that I believe we work together, come alongside each other and figure out what a fair price is for your property. Thanks so much for watching this video. Like I said, if you haven't seen the proven process video, please go there next.